As of recording this video, it came at just the right time. 16 billion logins were exposed, including Apple's impenetrable iCloud system, which definitely was part of that hack. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to trust all of my personal moments when it comes to my photos and my multimedia up in the cloud somewhere. And yes, I know you like to say I got my own cloud. It sounds cool, it sounds chic, but really it's not. You're not in control of that cloud. And I like to be in control about just about anything in my life. So having a network attached storage is something I really value. And thanks to the UGREEN DXP4800 Plus being one of the easiest NAS drives I've ever had to set up. So whether you're the most beginner of users and you're a little bit scared of technology, or you're that advanced user that really likes to play around in Docker and whatnot, this is going to be the perfect storage for you. I also have a link down below that's going to save you up to 20% on your order. So check my links down below if you're interested in picking this up. And while you're down there, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, leave a comment if that's all you want to do, as that definitely helps me out as well. But let's get into it. I'm going to show you the setup process of the DXP4800 Plus. And with a very powerful Intel 12th generation 5-core processor and storage up to 112 terabytes. You heard me right, 112 terabytes. Try uploading that amount of storage to the cloud. It's probably going to take you the same amount in years. But let's go ahead and set it up, because once you have the DXP4800 up and running, you'll be able to access your files, your photos, your multimedia just about from anywhere you are in the world. Remote access via their app is really simple. And again, from the beginner to the most advanced users, you're going to be able to get everything you want out of this NAS box. So let's get into it, check it out together. And did I mention, thanks to a recent update, once you snap a photo on your device, it's going to automatically be uploaded back to your home server, back to the DXP4800 Plus, in just about the same time it took you to snap that photo. Forget about that antiquated corporate-owned cloud. Get your own cloud in terms of a DXP4800 Plus, and you're going to be glad you did. Now it's time to throw in some drives, and I do have 4 4TB Western Digital drives to throw in. This device is capable of up to 112 terabytes of storage. Now, if you don't have Western Digital Reds, there's a whole compatibility list online. I'll throw some links down in my description, but any drive that you put in is basically going to work, but go ahead and check that list first. I'm also going to increase the RAM to 32 gigabyte, which is something you do not have to do. And I do have an NVMe drive that I'm going to throw in as well. Now, I love the fact that it's so easily upgradable. UGREEN has made this a very easily upgradable device, and I do have to give them a lot of credit for that. Now that we've booted up and the lights are blinking, go to a web browser and type find.ugnas.com, and that's going to search for the UGREEN NAS on your local network. Go ahead and give your device a friendly name and set up an administrator account as well. Make sure that you do choose something that you're going to remember. The next step after that is to go ahead and bind your device for remote access and whatnot. So go ahead and create your UGREEN cloud account, and that's going to enable remote access. Now, system update options, I always like to just install them automatically, and that's basically it, guys. I mean, everything is just an easy wizard. Everything is just one click away, and that makes this UGREEN DXP4800 Plus one of the most beginner-friendly NAS drives that you're ever going to find. The OS looks just like a desktop. The OS looks just like your smartphone, and it's just a couple clicks and some wizards, and anything you want to accomplish, you are going to be able to do so. So let's let this wizard run out, and then we're going to continue on with the video. Now we've installed all our drives, we've gone through the initial setup, it's time to set up a storage pool. And UGREEN, again, I have to give them a lot of praise. They made this a very beginner-friendly NAS device. There's always wizards, there's always a quick explanation of what has to happen, and then there's also a knowledge base that you can check out too. So don't worry if this is your first NAS, don't worry if you think it's overly complicated, because trust me, this is not complicated. Thanks again to this very, very easy OS here. So let's go ahead and create a pool. Now again, I do have 4 4TB drives here, and then I have 2 2TB NVMe SSD drives. Now, I would recommend that if you do have SSD drives, that you use this for your app data, for maybe a file that you transfer a lot of files to when you're doing some multimedia. Maybe you're doing some video editing or whatnot. You want to put your most frequently accessed materials on an SSD because it's going to be a lot faster to access. If you don't have an SSD drives, don't worry about it. You can always add them later. And it's very easy, again, with the wizard just to come back and decide how you want to set these up. So this is configurable after the fact. So right now, guys, let's just go ahead and select my two NVMe drives, and I'm going to keep this as a RAID 1 configuration. So basically it means one drive is going to back up the other one automatically. If one goes bad, I can automatically restore the files onto another 2 terabyte drive that I install. There's a bunch of other RAIDs as well here. Now with 2 drives, you're pretty much limited, but there are other RAIDs if you want to do something a little bit different. For me personally, I'm good with a 1-to-1 backup. So all I have to do is click on next. Now with volume 1, let's assign the total amount of storage. I'm going to use all of the storage, and I'm going to leave the X4 file system. Go ahead and enter your password, and it's going to create your volume. It's probably going to take about 10 seconds or so. So let's go ahead and let that do its thing. Now we've created our volume, and it's going to start optimizing the drive, and there's my available capacity. Now that we've gone ahead and utilized our NVMe SSD drives, it's time to utilize those 4 terabyte mechanical drives. Let's click on select storage pool. Now we're going to select how many drives we want to use. Now you can use all 4, and then again you will be presented with a whole bunch of RAID options down at the bottom. RAID 5 definitely is going to be the one that will give you the most amount of storage and also protect you from at least one drive failing. For those of you that require a little bit more resiliency, RAID 6 might be a good option for you as well. You're going to lose out on storage, but if 2 drives get damaged, you still have all of your data protected. Now the chances of 2 drives being defective at the same time are probably about the same amount of percentage of you getting hit by lightning. But for those of you that are a little bit of a worrywart, RAID 6 might be your better option. But I definitely want more storage, so I can go ahead and choose RAID 5. If you don't have 4 drives at the moment, you can create a storage pool with just 2 or with just 3, and then you can add another drive later on, or you can create a whole separate pool later on when you get 2 more drives. Again, everything is very, very configurable. Now the little dude at the bottom is telling me it's time to create remote access. Now, remote access is something that's very important, but you also want to protect it. So I would say that you want to enable 2-factor authentication as well, and I will show you how to do that. So just click on UGREEN Remote Access and give yourself a UGREEN ID name. I'm going to change mine something very simple that only I can remember. Immediately after you create your UGREEN link ID, I would go to security, and definitely you want to enable 2-factor authentication. This is going to ensure that you got to have a couple extra steps just to log in. Again, this is going to be connected to the internet 24/7, 365 in most cases, so you really want to ensure that it's protected. So let's go ahead and turn on 2-factor authentication, enter in my password here, and then download your authenticator of choice, whether it's Google, whether it's Microsoft, or whether you have anything else. When you click next, it's going to give you the QR code that you have to scan. Now a couple more settings I would recommend is just auto boot after loss of power, and I would also enable wake on LAN as well. It's just something that I would recommend you guys do. If you have a power outage or whatever, it's automatically going to just reboot the system. Or if you're just chilling on your couch and you want to turn this on when it's about time to watch Plex or be a little bit creative and get some videos going on, you can just enable it really quickly from a smartphone. So I like to enable those two as well. And there's a scheduled startup and shutdown time again. Now UGREEN has made this a very easy NAS to work with. I can't tell you, I've worked with a bunch of different NASs. I've even made my own TrueNAS box, which you can throw on TrueNAS or Unraid or any other third-party OS that you want. But I actually think that the UGREEN OS is doing pretty well for my needs at the moment. So I'm definitely excited to see how this is going to be. And the transfer speeds have been really fast as well. But again, I love the fact that UGREEN isn't locking this system down and not letting you do what you want to do with it. The hardware is superb. I mean, being able to quickly upgrade that RAM is something that I actually really like. There's some user managers as well. So let's just go ahead and add a new user. Since we are creating this from scratch, I'm going to create this one. And let's just call this one guest. And I'm going to enter in a password for guest as well. And I'm going to confirm the password. I'm going to keep guest as a common user, and I'm going to select this user is not allowed to change the password. And I'm not going to give this person their own personal folder. I'm going to set up folder permissions a bit later on. So let's just click on next. And then we're going to click on done. So now we have 2 users here, guest, and then we have myself right over there. Now that I've created a user management, let's go ahead and enable SMB, and this is going to allow me to connect back to my folders, my shared folders on the UGREEN NAS from another computer on my network. So I'm going to hit apply on that. And now if you are using a Mac, you might want to enable Bonjour as well, and this is going to allow you to set up a time machine. Let's just click apply for right now and let the system do its thing. Other than that, there's not really anything else that I want to show you here. I mean, you do have a couple options for LED brightness, so depending on where you place this, you might want to change this brightness level. Again, I'm not somewhere where this is going to bother me, but you can go ahead and do that. Under network connection, this is where you have a couple options as well. Now I do have two LAN cables connected, and they're both running at 2.5 gigabit a second. I don't have a 10 gigabit set up here in the office or at home. That's just not something that I've set up yet, but you do have a couple options that I really like, and I really appreciate how simple it is to change how your network is connecting to the UGREEN NAS. Under network bridging, it's really cool and easy to use your NAS as a kind of switch. So if you wanted to connect your NAS and you wish you could connect, say, your computer to your NAS drive, which is right next to it, you can use that secondary Ethernet port, bridge the two connections, and it's going to kind of act like a pass-through connection, and you're going to get that same fast 2.5 gigabit connection on both your NAS and the computer that you connect to. Just think of it as a pass-through situation. I'm not actually going to use this at the moment, but you see the little diagram right here. If you connect the internet, then your router, then your NAS device, and then you connect it to computer A or another switch or anything like that, it's basically just passing through the internet goodness right there. And you can also do the same if you wanted to create a virtual bridge. So for those of you that are doing something a little bit more advanced, and again, that's why I like the UGREEN system. No matter what your skill level is, or no matter what you require from a NAS drive, you'll be able to do it thanks to basically having a ton of options here. Now another cool thing that you do have is called link aggregation. And basically, once you do link aggregation, you can really get a much more faster and more robust system. And it's going to ensure that everyone connected, again, perfect for multiple users. Anyone connected is going to get full access and get the most reliable connection to your UGREEN NAS. You can have load balancing, which is adaptive. You can also do something really cool, which is polling mode. And this basically is going to aggregate the two network interfaces to try and give you a much faster transmission speed. So now that we've done that, it's time to create a couple folders here for us to put some files on and whatnot. And let's just exit through the wizard. Again, this is going to just let you know exactly what's happening here. So let's see, location of personal folders. I might put my personal folder on volume 1. Now again, volume 1 is going to be my SSD drives. I'm not going to give my guest full control over my folder. So I'm just going to click on that and click on next right here. So this is a personal folder. This is going to be, well, a personal folder for every user that you create. And if you want to add more personal folders, just click on that plus icon. Again, very simple. I mean, this really just looks like a desktop OS, which is basically what it is. So you have your copy, you have your paste, cut, you can rename, and you can upload from right there. And there is management. So if you wanted to delete a folder, you could go ahead and do that, and a recycle bin as well. A shared folder is exactly what it sounds like. You're going to create a new shared folder that can be accessed from just about any other device that's connected to your network. Again, you will have to enter in your credentials, so don't worry about that. So let's go ahead and create a new shared folder. Let's create a new folder that's called Photos, because we are going to check out the photo application later. I actually want to put this one on my volume 2 there. I'm not going to create a volume limit. I am going to enable a recycle bin for the admin only, so no one's going to be able to get in and kind of delete my folders. Let's go ahead and click on create. And then again, for the permissions for this guest, if you don't want them to access that folder altogether, you can deny access. If you want them to be able to read or write files to it, add their own photos or whatnot, you can give them read-write access. Or if you just want them to be able to see it without being able to delete or add, you could give read-only access. But for my guest, I'm keeping my photos my photos. Let's go ahead and click on next. That's really as simple as it gets. I mean, UGREEN has made this a very easy NAS, and I do want to stress that, because a lot of people become a little bit confused and they get a little bit intimidated when it comes to technology. This is not one of those products. If you're on a computer right now, or you've ever used a computer or even a smartphone, you're going to be able to use this system. So let's click out of this and download a few more apps. Now, looking at the App Store, guys, this is where UGREEN has a couple of applications that they deem are worthy to be on your machine. Now, I would like to see this definitely expanded a little bit, hopefully in the time to come. But they have added Docker support, so basically you can install any application that you want using Docker. Now, this will be for the more advanced user or someone who wants to really play around in the weeds and see what they can do. And for the most part, you cannot mess anything up, so don't worry about that if you're worried about that. But we do want to install Theater, and I'm going to install my apps on that SSD drive just because it's going to be a lot faster. So I'm going to say always install apps on this volume. Click on install. The next app that I want to install is called Photos. 100% for sure I want Photos. Now Jellyfin is here, but I'm probably going to install Plex, to be quite honest, since I do have a Plex pass. But Jellyfin is perfectly fine as well, and I'm happy to see that that is there. There's also Firefox, but you will have to install Docker as well. Next, I'm going to install Docker. I'm definitely going to use that. DLNA is actually really cool, guys. That's going to allow you to play media files from your NAS directly to any client that supports it. So if you guys need that, maybe for your TV or something, that is here. But quite honestly, there's not a whole bunch of applications here, and I really hope that UGREEN is working with some main people to go ahead and bring a native app, such as Plex. I would love just the ability to install it with one click, or Image, or anything like that. But again, with Docker, you're pretty much going to be able to install whatever you guys want to install. Looking at the UGREEN desktop, there's a lot of information that's presented to you, but in a very easy way that even the most beginner of NAS users can understand. And if you're more advanced, you can definitely get a lot more out of this NAS system. And that's why I like the UGREEN DXP 4800 Plus, because it's great for the beginner and it's great for the more advanced user. Once again, thanks to inclusion of Docker, which I will get into in just a little bit, you can download your favorite applications like a QB torrent. I have AdGuard Home running to block all of those annoying ads in my home, and I also have Plex running as well. You have these big colorful icons that just make everything really simple, and the folder system is really easy to understand as well. Just like it is on your desktop computer, you just have to go in and click the plus icon and add a new folder where you want to. So the interface makes things very, very simple. You also have a task manager that's going to let you know exactly what's going on with your system. So you can see the CPU utilization rate. You can see the current temperature of your system as well. If the GPU is doing anything, you can see information about your memory, your network, your hard drive, just about everything that's going on with your NAS. You'll be able to see it thanks to having this task manager. Under storage, we've already set up our storage pools, but you can see the current temperatures of your storage. And it's just a great way to, again, just monitor the performance of your entire system. I think UGREEN does a good job of making everything pleasant and easily navigatable thanks to graphs that you can just look at and understand in real time. And then at the top you have a widget with your CPU and RAM usage as well as your in and out network traffic. Again, very easily navigatable, very easy to really understand what's going on with your system. So that's been a look at the desktop from UGREEN. Now it is the fun part, and that is called doing a speed test. I'm all about speed. I want to maximize my connection whenever possible. Now, as full disclosure, I'm on a 2.5 gigabit connection. I don't have a 10 gigabyte connection to test out, but 2.5 should be very fast and definitely a lot faster than the cloud. So let's select two movies that I do own the digital rights to. Yes, I do. So I'm going to select these two movies, and it's going to be a 40 gigabyte file. Let's go ahead and transfer these over to my UGREEN NAS here, and then just start a little timer. So if we take a look, transferring over that 40 gigabyte file is only going to take about 3 minutes. And it is maxing out my 2.5 gig connection. You can see here I'm transferring at 210 megabyte a second, 211, 220. So this is definitely maxing out my network to its capacity. And heading back to the UGREEN desktop, you can always see in real time your in and out traffic as well as your CPU and RAM usage just by this little handy widget right at the top. And coming back to my PC, you can see that I'm transferring at a very fast rate. I'm still at that 220 megabyte a second transfer. Let's transfer a file over, and this is going to be a 9.53 gigabyte file. Let's transfer this over right to my videos folder. And you can see that I'm transferring at a very fast 212 megabyte a second. And it's only going to take about 45 seconds to upload. So let's just give that a second to upload, guys. Very fast upload. Uploading that same file to the cloud is going to take about 40 minutes or so to upload. So again, way more than that 40 seconds it took to transfer over to my NAS drive. Just go ahead and cancel the upload because I'm not going to wait for that to upload, guys. I'm actually just going to transfer another file over. Let's go ahead and transfer another dark matter right over there. So again, when it comes to speed, UGREEN's NAS drive is very, very fast. Let's start with looking at the photo application. Again, I think UGREEN did a nice job with their photo app. It has AI tools built in to let you recognize photos with people, places, or things. And it's all done on board once again, not sent to some remote server. Definitely a huge plus for that. Upon opening the Photos application, again, everything is uploaded in high quality and you get all the metadata details on the right here. I think UGREEN designed a very nice photo application and it really shows in the amount of effort that they put into it. It's easily navigatable, it's easily searchable, it's easily just a very, very friendly application. You can upload photos from your mobile device by using the UGREEN application, and that's a huge benefit because when you're on vacation, you're out doing your thing, you don't want to think about backing up your photos. You just want it to be done automatically, and thanks to the inclusion of that UGREEN NAS application, this is going to upload your photos automatically from your mobile device. So that's a huge benefit when it comes to the UGREEN NAS in my opinion. But another huge benefit is the fact that if you do have thousands upon thousands of photos, you can search them quite easily. Now this is just some of the AI recognition tools that I've enabled here. Now if you go to people, this is going to make it easy to search for people. So let's just include myself and say Jabber. Now the next time you do a search function, all I have to do is search for Jabber. Let's click on Jabber and you're going to see that all of the photos that have myself in the photo are going to be displayed here. And it's going to give you that metadata once again. So high quality photos, 100% for sure. And this will be easy if you wanted to add different names to different faces and just search for those people very, very quickly. Another thing that you can do by AI search results is just go ahead and search by location. So right now you see I have a couple locations here that have been recognized by the UGREEN AI tool. So if we go back to search, let's just search for Colombia. There you're going to see all of the photos that I took while I was in Colombia, and you can click on one, you can download it to your local device here, you can delete it, you can also rotate it if you want, and of course you can share it. So I think this is really cool. If you wanted to share a folder with a loved one or just one picture, you could go ahead and create a link that has a validity period. So once again, if you just wanted to share it for a day, 15 days, or make it permanent, being able to use UGREEN's own service, their own relay service to create a custom link and share it, and anybody with that link is going to be able to access it. I think that is something definitely really cool. Now I say anybody accessing it, but don't worry, you can create a password if you want. Definitely something I would recommend if you're sharing links with photos. But I like the ease of this photo application, and I think it's only going to get better over time. And everything's uploaded in high quality once again. So very, very cool if you ask me. I like the ability to search for either people or places. So we can also search for things like a cat. Let's just go ahead and take a look. And this is actually pretty cool with the pets. It's going to try and sometimes incorrectly get the correct name of the animal. Now let's do another search maybe for sunset. You can also search for sunset. And it's going to bring up all the photos that have a sunset in them. Again, very, very cool if you ask me. You can see all of these photos I took with a sunset. That's probably one of the most frequently photographed things. And I think it's a great idea, once again, to have AI tools built in, especially if you have a huge photo library. That's really it when it comes to the photo application, guys. I mean, again, you can see by location. You can just go ahead and click and you can see all of the photos that were taken in that specific location. There's also object recognition. So let's just click on transportation and you can see I have cars in there. This is Pablo Escobar's car collection when I was in Colombia. So again, very cool, guys, that you can just search for cars if you're a car person or whatever the case is. Here's even bicycles and whatnot. So the photo application is where I think UGREEN actually spent a large amount of time when it comes to the photo application. And then here's your AI settings. Again, everything is done locally. This is all done on your NAS. It's not sent anywhere. And you can enable or disable them if you don't want one or the other language models to kind of do its thing on your photos. Next, let's take a look at theater, because multimedia is probably, after photos, what all of us store on our NAS drive. Of course, they're all digital copies of things we own, but the theater application is another place where I think UGREEN spent a good amount of time. And there are alternatives. Once again, as you become more familiar with using the system, you can install Plex, you can install Jellyfin, or if you have any other type of application that you wanted to install. But let's take a look at the built-in theater application from UGREEN. Before we take a look at the theater application, I just want to show you that when you go to the data source, you do want to include the movie database API key, because this is going to give you information about all of your multimedia. And this is something that's free. It's given from the movie database. I'll leave a link to this down in my description there. But once you get your API key, all you have to do is enter it into the UGREEN theater application, and then it's going to give you information about all of your movies and content that you have on your NAS drive. So right now, guys, if we take a look, I have a couple movies that I've uploaded. So you see I have 4K content, Dark Knight, 21 Jump Street. I also have 9 Perfect Strangers, which is a TV show. But if we click on, for example, 21 Jump Street, and I've actually been watching it, so let's just go ahead and click on play here. It's going to play really, really quickly, and it does show that it is playing in Dolby Vision, so I am happy that there is that Dolby Vision compatibility. If we rewind, you can see it doesn't even skip a beat when it comes to rewinding or even fast forwarding your content. Now let's just kind of minimize this, and I want to show you that the UGREEN NAS is really not skipping a beat. It's not really being tasked when you're playing 4K content. So if we take a look down here, the CPU utilization is only about 17–20%, and I have seen this drop to about 12 or 14. So at the moment it is playing at 21%. Now the cool thing about the UGREEN theater application, let's just go back and open this up. And if you don't have enough bandwidth for whatever reason, again, this can be played on a mobile device when you're out and about. You can always lower the quality. So let's go ahead and lower it to 720p here, and see if that's going to tax the CPU anymore. So let's just kind of minimize this just a little bit. And if we go back to CPU usage, let's go ahead and close that. So it did jump just a tiny bit, about 28%. But again, that is nothing at all when it comes to taking a 4K content movie, entire movie, and just dropping it down to 720. The theater application is definitely a good rival to some other apps that are out there, some other multimedia apps that are out there. But I think for the beginner, again, this does a very nice job of categorizing your movie and TV shows, or even if you have some other home movies or whatnot, you can go ahead and add them to your library. So if we click on all, you'll see I have a couple movies here. I haven't really added everything, but on my shared folder from another computer, you can link to another network attached device and get all of your movies that way. So very cool, UGREEN. I think you're doing a really good job. But speaking of the theater application, let's just move on to maybe Plex and see how well Plex plays on the UGREEN NAS. So I do have Plex here. Let's go ahead and play the same movie on Plex, and I am playing it on 4K, and see what kind of impact that had on my CPU usage. So even using Plex within a Docker container, it's still using about that 18–20% for a 4K file. So still very, very respectable. And the same thing with Plex, guys, if you wanted to lower the quality. Let's go ahead and lower this one maybe all the way down to 240. Now this is probably something you would never have to do, but I'm just curious to see how well this is going to do. So let me just kind of wait for this to play. Again, inside of the 4800 Plus from UGREEN, it does have a 12th generation 5-core Intel processor. So this really should not make any difference to that processor. It really should be able to handle this with ease. And you can see here, let's go ahead and move this. Very, very pixelated. These were TVs back in the day. Taking that massive 4K file and downgrading it to about 240p, pixelation is what that P stands for. You can see it only increased. It went from 20 to about 34%, and that's still really nothing when compared to what this processor can do. Now, if you go back to Plex, you can see it is using hardware transcoding. So I like that Plex is working perfectly well on this UGREEN system. So once again, guys, you can see here hardware transcoding right there. There's also a music application. So if you guys have your own rips or whatnot, you can definitely organize it just like you would your photos or your videos. Let's take a look at UGREEN's application, because I believe they did a really nice job with their app, and you can set up and configure, I'd say, about 90% of what you can do remotely. So no matter wherever you are in the world, opening up the application is going to give you access to change settings, change features, and do a whole bunch of things. Now, of course, once you get more remote and you hook up something like Tailscale, or you hook up your own Wireguard server, you can basically pretend like you're back home and you can do everything that you want remotely. Or if you're on a computer connected to that Tailscale account, you can also just pretend like you're local and get everything done that way. But that's a little bit more advanced. I'm just talking about a straight up application. What can we do when we open up this app if we're not at home or at our office? And again, it gives you just about all of the information. So you have access to your user management, your file systems. I mean, I went over all of this already. And here's my storage devices as well. So I am on my 5G network at the moment. I can see all of my storage pools here. I can change some settings and whatnot, but storage you definitely don't want to mess with if you're remote. That's something you want to do when you're actually close by and you're on that same network. Get information about your task manager. You can see everything that's running on the NAS box. Your volume status right down there, the CPU usage and whatnot as well. Whether there's any issues that's coming up with your system and your hardware temperature. But of course you guys want to know about photos. So once again, if you just open up the photo application, you're going to get access to all of your photos remotely. So this is something that a lot of people are really going to like. If you just open up the photo application, you're going to be able to check out all of your photos no matter where you are. And the theater application, I believe UGREEN is doing a really nice job with their theater app. Again, with that Intel 12th generation 5th core processor, and I've upgraded the RAM. This handles 4K content, it handles Atmos, it handles a lot of codecs just by using their built-in application here. And you can also just pick a movie, and if you wanted to download it for your trip or whatnot, you can quickly just download it to your own device. I can quickly download it onto my smartphone and watch it while I'm 12,000 miles up in the air or whatever the case is. So the app is really nice, guys. And to set up the automatic backup, you do have to open up that sync and backup application here. And you do have auto backup in the background. So again, once you snap that photo, it's going to just automatically upload it right back here to your DXP4800 Plus. I've really enjoyed my NAS experience with the DXP4800 Plus, and to be quite honest with you, I thought I was going to install true NAS right out of the gate. I was like, you know what, I'm going to set this up, I'm going to play with it for about 2 days, and I'm probably just going to want to throw in a third-party OS, because yes, you are able to throw in third-party OSs once again. And it's powerful enough for all of my Plex content. It's definitely powerful enough with that Intel 12th generation 5-core processor. I upgraded the RAM. Quite honestly, I didn't have to do that. That was just something I did. I had it lying around. You'll be just fine with 8 GB, but if you're like me and you like to tinker, you're probably going to take that out and upgrade it anyway. But this has really been the easiest and most simplest setup that I've ever come across, and their wizards and everything else that they include in their OS has really been helpful. So no matter what your skill level is, once again, you're going to be able to get up and running, I'd say, in about 10 to 15 minutes. It couldn't be any simpler. And as I get more advanced myself with figuring out tunnels and Docker and this and that and the other, this is definitely going to keep up with me, or rather, I got to keep up with it because it already knows how to do all of it. It can handle everything without even breaking a sweat. If you're interested in picking it up, I got links down there as well to save you some coin, about 20%. And I think that's a big chunk of coin to save. But once again, guys, I appreciate it. Thumbs up, subscribe. If you have any questions, let me know down in those comments. I'll catch you in another video. And if you like content like this, let me know. I'll try and review some more for you as well. I'll try and give you some more guides and setup guides and everything like that. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. And definitely check this out and get rid of the cloud.